Chapter 5 contains spoilers for the adventure The Sky Machine. Only the GM should listen to this chapter. Chapter 5, The Sky Machine. It seems futile now, knowing that we can never touch this greatness. But what if we could? What if we could put together something like the marvels of the builders? If we just had one of their machines, how glorious our future would be. Vinod Marvat, algebraist, and I of the Navigators Guild. Background. Millennia ago, what is now known as the Jumua system was part of the vast builder civilization that stretched across the four horizons. It was a time where the star portals were just one of many wonders that the builders created. Even what was then seen as mundane technology can now barely be fathomed. A prime example is the gravity nodes built for the builders' floating cities. One such metropolis once existed in the upper stratosphere of the gas giant Mubara, a magnificent city in the clouds filled with glimmering towers and beautiful avenues. But if there is one thing certain in this universe, it is that beauty never lasts, and the day came when the event wrought havoc across the builder civilization. As Blight spread through the city, its gravity pillars failed, and the city and its people plunged to their deaths in the depths of the gas giant. Miraculously, one of the three pillars escaped destruction and settled in orbit around Mubara. And then, nothing. Hundreds of thousands of years passed in silence, until now. The year is 189 in the age of the diaspora, present day. Gillen's Point is a small outpost on the tiny moon Mobara 4, a haven for prospectors, fortune hunters, and dust diggers. Here, they prepare for their next venture across the moon's mineral-laden landscape. The outpost is owned by the Mining Combine, an amalgam of prospectors, miners, and workers that has grown more powerful in recent years. The Sky Machine. As time passed, the corrupted Sky Machine activated at irregular intervals, causing tremors and small quakes on the asteroid. This changed the landscape and exposed parts of the bedrock of the small moon. It is this fact that has made Mubara 4 so popular with prospectors to this day. From time to time, the machine activates and triggers tremors and seismic activity. The prospectors call it the shakes and make sure to hunker down whenever it happens. More than one prospector crew has been lost to the depths when the ground beneath them suddenly gave way. The effect of the Sky Machine is both a blessing and a curse. It is a recent case of the shakes that opened the fissure in this adventure. The situation. 5 days ago, a prospecting crew ventured down a previously unexplored ravine looking to stake a claim. They stumbled upon a strange fissure in the rock leading to a tunnel descending into the deep. Investigating, they found an ancient ruin below. The prospectors had in fact stumbled upon the vault of the Sky Machine, a structure that once projected gravity in such a way as to hold the builder city in the atmosphere of the gas giant. However, the vault and the machine are long since infected with the Blight, and the prospectors met their doom inside the ancient walls of the structure. All save one. Rez Otreb managed to flee the ruin and by sheer will escape to the surface. Before slipping into unconsciousness, Otreb told the outpost chief, Leah Calvanetes, about the underground structure the prospecting crew had found. This put her in a precarious situation. As the highest-ranking mining combine official on site, she had a responsibility to mount a rescue operation. However, a builder ruin right under her nose was an opportunity too big to miss. Her plan was simple. She would seemingly lead a rescue for the missing prospectors with a small team she knew she could trust. Her real objective was to claim any valuable artifacts before anyone else could get to them. The chief sent a message to a contact within the Navigators Guild on Ship City, offering them any artifacts found for a steep price. This would be her ticket away from this forsaken moon. There was just one problem: the Blight. Not realizing the magnitude of the Blight infestation in the fissure, neither Calvinets nor her team had any delving suits, making a delve a suicide mission. Frustrated, she returned to Gillen's Point and mulled her options. As word of the missing crew spread, pressure from prospectors increased, and Calvinets finally relented and reported the incident to mining combine officials, who in turn asked the Explorers Guild for help. Meanwhile, the Navigators Guild discreetly enlisted a specialized Black Toad Delver crew tasked with retrieving any artifacts from the structure, no matter the costs. But things are seldom what they seem in Ship City. The fast picket that the Black Toad chartered to transport their delve team to Mobara 4 is owned by the Coriolite Witrepo Asher Mira, an eccentric member of the Asher family and a collector of builder artifacts. In reality, Witrepo knows about the incident thanks to informers within the Black Toad, and he is sizing up the Explorer Guild crew and the Black Toad Delvers. One will likely emerge from the fissure with a priceless artifact, and Witrepo will make sure he bets on the right horse. The mission. The explorers have been sent to Gillen's Point on the small moon Mubara 4 to perform a rescue mission for a team of lost prospectors. On site, they will get acquainted with the station chief, a peculiar Coriolite, and a team of newly arrived prospectors, all with their own agendas and secrets. After getting ready, the explorers will plan and execute a delve down into the fissure where the prospectors disappeared. Their job is twofold: rescue any living prospectors and extract any valuable artifacts. However, they will have to survive the challenges of a rival Black Toad delve crew and the dangers of the ancient ruin first. The Outpost. In the first part of the adventure, the explorers land on Mubara 4, are briefed about the missing prospectors, get acquainted with the old prospecting outpost, and get ready for the rescue mission. But something's not quite right at Gillen's Point. Arrival. Read or role-play the text below. Quote, "The landing thrusters fire with a mighty roar, sending a jolt through the structure of the shuttle as you gently and slowly lower your grasshopper down towards the landing pad on the barren moon asteroid below. The cockpit is bathed in a golden haze from the mighty gas giant Mubara, filling the sky above you. To your right, you see the colors of the prospecting outpost sprawled out on the grey, rocky plain as a splash of discarded paint, a low-set building with a large cupola on one end. With a final roar of the engines and a powerful thud, the shuttle touches down. As the engine coils wind down, you hear the wind howling around you and debris hammering the windshields. Welcome to Mubara 4. End quote. Inform the explorers that they have been dispatched to the rocky moon Mubara 4 on a rescue mission. A prospecting team has disappeared after discovering a previously unknown structure below ground. Their first task is to meet with the outpost chief for a briefing. Remind them to read their orders. Give them handout Shur 1, Moscow's orders. Handout Nilgra 1, Moscow's orders. Mission briefing. Routine. Filed to EG Mission Archive. Communications Center number 4C. Date 189.08.14. Security level high. Level of threat 1. Permission to use lethal force? No. Permission to use high-level equipment? No. Permission to leave Jumua system? No. Permission to enter undiscovered territory? No. 2. Jeraman and Ru, Charima Turok, Massima Kandamal, and Yan Setench. Info. I apologize for the secrecy and lack of information. You are part of a rescue mission sent to assist the local mining combine authorities on Gillen's Point, a prospecting outpost on the asteroid moon Mubara 4. Here is the situation. 3 days ago, 5 prospectors disappeared while staking a claim. Their last communication was a brief message informing us of a sudden spike in Blight levels and that the group had discovered a previously unknown structure they were investigating. The station chief, Leah Calvinetis, immediately sent a rescue team to assist. However, they were forced to turn around due to Blight in the area. Yesterday, we received an informal request for assistance from experienced ruin divers from the mining combine. This is where you come in. We suspect the prospectors encountered a Blight pocket, likely with catastrophic results, though not certain. It is your job to go down there, investigate, and assist any surviving prospectors. We expect this to be a Class 1 delve. With your experience and professionalism, it should be an easy task. A secondary objective is to locate and retrieve any artifacts that may be found within the structure. As usual, artifacts are expected to be handed over to the Explorers Guild once you return. Compensation. As this is a Class 1 mission, you will each be issued 500 dirham upon return. You will receive a bonus of 1,000 dirham for any major artifact and 500 for lesser ones. Come back safe. Mosca! GM, the voyage has been arduous. Inform the players to check the exhausted condition on their Explorer sheets. They will need to rest a full shift to get their strength back. Mubara 4, only 48 kilometers across, Mubara 4 is the 4th moon of Mubara, a yellow gas giant where storms can rise tens of kilometers above the surface and reach hurricane-like speeds. Just like Mubara, its 4th moon is a turbulent place, albeit barren, rocky and covered in grey plains, ravines and craggy cliffs. Even though the surface holds little of interest, the underground is a completely different matter. One of the most mineral-rich locations in the Jamua system, Mubara 4, is popular among prospectors and surveyors looking to earn some dirham the hard way. The atmosphere is thin but breathable with an air filter. However, frequent storms make surface treks dangerous, so large terrain vehicles transport cargo and crew the short distance to the station. Strangely, gravity is close to normal on the asteroid moon. This is in fact due to the presence of the sky machine in its depths. The giant above. The atmosphere on the moon asteroid is thin, and breathing masks and goggles are needed in the violent storms. As they step outside, the explorers are met by Drenkzabo, a laconic prospector in a mining combine rover that helps unload their equipment for transport to the facility. As the explorers are waiting for their gear to be loaded, they are subjected to the first trial of Mubara 4, the oppressing presence of the gas giant above them. The sight of Mubara filling the entire sky overhead is as impressive as it is frightening. Make each player roll for insight to avoid being overwhelmed by the sight of the gas giant. Failure means that the explorer loses one hope. Make sure to convey the sense of wonder combined with the terrifying vista to the players. After this, the worker signals that they are ready to depart. Drenkzabo, laconic prospector. Work, sleep, and drink yourself into a stupor. That's all there is to life if you ask Drenk. He's got his reasons for sure, but he won't tell no one. Still, anyone that doesn't pester him too much will earn his silent thanks. He knows that something strange is going on with that Coriolis fellow and doesn't trust the newly arrived tech team. 1 iota. Come to think of it, he doesn't trust no one. Quasso's dream. While en route to the outpost, the explorers notice a sleek white spaceship that has landed a few hundred meters away. A couple of workers are offloading cargo crates onto a similar rover. The ship is Quasar's Dream, a fast picket owned by the Coriolite eccentric and collector Itrepo Ashur Mirmira. A successful logic roll tells an inquisitive explorer that the ship seems to be an expensive custom construction, most likely owned by a wealthy Coriolite. GM. At this time, you can inform the players that the Coriolites are an important union of clans and families of Ship City known for their obsession with the old horizon, intricate rituals, and spectacular sense of fashion. Setting the mood, amidst the desolate expanse of the asteroid moon, the presence of the colossal Mubara above looms large in the sky, casting an ethereal golden glow over the rugged landscape. The crags, ravines, and crevices that scar the surface are bathed in a golden haze cast by the gas giant. It is a beautiful sight in all of its harshness. Everything changes when the moon enters its dark phase. The void of the great dark engulfs everything, leaving only rocks and the darkness above. Gillen's Point is worn down by the elements and the hardships of life here, but it was once quite a sight to behold. Originally, it was painted in bright colors and decorated with symbols and patterns made by skilled hull painters, with its great dome looking upwards into infinity. Gillen's Point, perched on the rugged plain of Mubara 4, Gillen's Point stands as a testament to resilience against the great dark. It is a low-slung structure, once painted in lively red, yellow, and magenta. The paint is now chipped off, weathered by time and harsh winds. The only remnants of its origin as a Navigators Guild station are the engraved eye symbol still visible above the entrance and a large cupola once housing the observatory. The dome, once an important instrument for the navigator's thirst for knowledge, now wears the patina of abandonment, its surface scratched and dulled by micrometeorites and storms. The navigators left long ago, and after being abandoned for 3 decades, the mining combine stepped in and established it as a prospector camp. Currently home to 28 souls, including a skeleton staff of 5 mining combine personnel led by Leah Calvinets, meeting the chief. Once the large vehicle is docked and the explorers embark into the outpost, they are welcomed by Outpost Chief Leah Calvinites, who wastes no time and invites the group to her office for a briefing on the incident. The office is cramped with half-drawn security blinds setting everything in a warm yellow haze. A large fan in the ceiling moves noisily to spread the dry heat of the building. Chief Calvinetes produces a list of the missing prospectors and hands them each a somewhat dirty mug of very strong tea. Give the players handout number 2, prospecting claim, and handout Veril 3, outpost and area map. The chief tells the explorers the following. The prospectors disappeared 5 days ago. A rescue crew was sent to their last known location and discovered the prospectors' abandoned rover close to a fissure in the ground. It has since been towed back to the point. A lone survivor, Rez Autreb, was found nearby the fissure 1 day later. Close to death and heavily exposed to blight, he is now isolated in the medical ward. She recommends against visiting him, as he is not lucid and highly contagious. The fissure has not been mapped previously, indicating that was recently exposed by the quakes. The moon is entering its dark phase tonight. For the next 3 days, this side of Mubara 4 will be shrouded in darkness. There will be a simple supper tonight in the Outpost Observatory. It's a tradition when entering the dark phase. The explorers can use one of the Outpost's rovers to get to the site. Explorers on the lookout can roll for empathy, with a success telling them that the chief hides something from them and seems nervous. They get the feeling she really does not want them here at all. Leah Calvanita's station chief, overworked, tired, and with a sore back that won't go away, Calvanets is done with life as chief of Gillen's Point. She wants out, and the find in the fissure is her ticket away from here. However, her gamble to sell the artifact to the Navigators Guild can backfire if the mining combine finds out. She will do anything to cover her tracks. Location: the canteen, the social hub of the outpost. The canteen is where prospectors have their meals, socialize, and let out steam after hours. It is a low-ceilinged, octagon-shaped room 10 meters across, with metal tables and chairs scattered around haphazardly. The burgundy-red painted walls are covered in a somewhat bizarre mix of mining combine recruitment posters, a mishmash of religious symbols, and one wall completely covered in a fading mural depicting Ship City's founding. There are always a handful of prospectors in the canteen. Vandau's crew. If the explorers visit the canteen, they will find a group clad in bright orange clothing in one corner. This is Zira Vandau's Black Toad crew in the cover of Mining Combine Technicians. Vandau's crew is a clean and amiable group in sharp contrast to the downtrodden, dust-covered prospectors who keep away from the newcomers. If the explorers ask around, make them roll for empathy to gain a prospector's trust. If successful, they will gather that the Vandau crew arrived in a Coriolite fast picket, just hours before the explorers. The choice of ship strikes them as odd, but it's not unheard of. Apparently, they are here for some sort of unscheduled maintenance operation. Surely, a coincidence. If the explorers approach Vandau's group, they will cheerfully greet them and ask them to join them at their table for some grass wine. Zira Vandau will take the lead and ask the explorers about their presence on the outpost, letting them know that she and her crew will gladly help out in any way they can. Zira Vandau, Black Toad Infiltrator, a self-made ruin delver and toad boss that grew up in the drudgery of the haze in Ship City. Not in it for dirham or drugs, Vandau believes that the Black Toad is the better alternative to the corrupt guilds. She respects Mosca and the Explorers Guild, but believes that it's on the wrong side of history. If she has to, Zira will use deadly force to reach her objective, but she prefers not to. Location: the medical ward. Rez Altreb, the survivor of the missing prospecting crew, is placed in isolation in the outpost's medical ward. Inquisitive explorers might want to pay him a visit. Located in the East Wing, the medical ward has seen better days. The ward is currently housing 3 prospectors that have come down with the fog and staffed by the overworked Dr. Armati, who is not amused by the explorer's presence. Altreb is placed in an isolation chamber with a single window from which the doctor monitors his decline. The Blight victim. The poor Rez Altreb is almost completely consumed by the horrors of the Blight. Isolated and confined to the medical ward, there is nothing more Dr. Armati can do than keep him stable and sedated. The doctor warns the explorers that he is uncommunicative, but if they really want to visit him, well, he won't stop them. He hurries away to other tasks and leaves the explorers alone with the survivor. If the explorers enter the isolation room, they are met with a haunting sight. The prospector looks like he has been away for months, not a single day. His skin is pale grey. His veins are bulging from his wiry body as if pulled by some unseen power. If the explorers try to speak with him, nothing happens at first, but when they turn to leave, the patient will suddenly start to spasm before opening his mouth wide. Large, dark flakes of blight dust are emitted into the room. It's a ghastly scene, and all present explorers will have to succeed with an insight roll to avoid taking one Blight. Ortreb looks at one of the explorers and says, "The city. Have you seen the city?" Then he collapses back into unconsciousness. Location Observatory Dome, a somewhat strange feature for a prospecting outpost, is the 20-meter-wide observatory dome placed in the middle of the outpost, a remnant from its beginning as a Navigators Guild observatory. With a roof made of reinforced glass, the dome offers a breathtaking view of the enormous gas giant towering above. Old, creaking storm shields close over the dome when a storm hits the surface. It has become a tradition for the station chief to host a supper in the dome the night before the moon enters its dark phase. Event: Supper Before the Dark. For this darkening supper, the outpost cook Migalnov, chatty, can do wonders with what he is given, has placed a table in the center of the dome and decorated it with lanterns and a select few props. Old Blue Eyes, a strangely shaped mineral block, an old hand-painted vase from the old horizon, and a delving helmet that is claimed to have belonged to the famous explorer Jakub Mahander. Chief Calvanetes is not much for theatrics, but she indulges her crafty cook and is indeed curious about the special guests she hosts. There are a dozen guests, mostly staff and visiting prospectors, but the explorers may recognize the tired Dr. Armati looking deeply into his glass. The dinner is meant to introduce the key players to the explorers, Chief Calvanetes, the Coriolite Utrepo Mirmira, and the Black Toad agent, in disguise, Zera Vandau. The dramatic setting with the vast, golden gas giant above juxtaposed with the somewhat basic cuisine and the strange dinner guests should make for a memorable evening. Here are some suggestions of what could take place. A taster of tsira dumplings and a glass of grass wine to begin with. The chief toasts to the success of the rescue operation and to new friends. An awkward silence follows. The Coriolites, standing transfixed by the view of the huge planet, murmuring behind the mask, "It must have been beautiful. Incredible. Just incredible. How did they do it?" Zera Vandau casually asks an explorer about their orders and what they think has happened to the missing prospectors. A main course of shock tell. A spicy stew of lentils made according to an old Sedalian recipe. It is surprisingly delicious. Chief Calvanetes launching into a rambling rant about the toil of her position and the ungratefulness of the mining combine who never lets her leave this forsaken rock. She might have had a glass too much. The Coriolite is not touching his food. If asked, he stares blankly through his mask and answers that he has eaten the light of Mubara. That is enough for him. If the explorers are on the lookout, you can allow a roll for perception or empathy for each alert explorer. A successful roll tells them one of the following. The Coriolite and Zera Vandau seem to share a secret of some sort. They exchange looks, but quickly look away when spotted. Chief Calvanetes seems afraid of something or someone. She drinks too much and looks around nervously. Zera Vandau seems almost too forthcoming and friendly. Two offers as Mubara disappears over the horizon, replaced by the vastness of the Great Dark. The observatory descends into a gloom with only the weak lanterns as lights. At this time, two of the supper guests will try to maneuver themselves so that they can make an offer to the explorers. The Coriolite Utrepo. Asher Mirmira will appear beside one of the explorers and cock his masked head to the side in his usual manner. If there is an artifact down there in the fissure, I would like to offer generous compensation if you could bring it back to me. I know that the Explorers Guild pays measly sums for artifacts. Shall we say that I quadruple anything they offer? 4,000 dirham? I would be very grateful. A desperate and somewhat tipsy chief, Calvanetes, grabs one of the explorers by the sleeve and wheezes in her ear. "You need to watch yourselves. There are others here that want what is not theirs. I'll help you if I can, but I need something from you. Bring me that thing and I'll cut you in on it. Please." Utrepo Asher Mimira, eccentric Coriolite. Utrepo Asher is a romantic in the classic sense. Born with privilege and schooled in the old traditions, he eventually shunned the reactionary conservatism of his family and has embraced the beauty and enigma of the lost horizon. A self-proclaimed scholar and collector of builder artifacts. In reality, he is an amateur, with a substantial amount of dirham to his name. He is always seen with a mask in public, even though he has not gone through a masking ceremony. He greatly enjoys the drama of his visage and will use it to his advantage as much as he can. Location: the loading dock. This hall is where prospecting crews gear up and get ready to embark on surface treks. The explorer's delving pod has been transported here, and this is where they go to gear up before the delve. If the explorers visit the staging area to perform an equipment check, see sabotage below. Sabotage. When checking the equipment, the explorers notice that something feels off with their equipment. If they investigate, let them roll for perception. A success reveals that the crew's equipment has been sabotaged. Navigation instruments, vital for direction, are subtly shifted off course. Communication tools, essential for teamwork, suffer from jumbled frequencies. Perhaps worst, their emergency transponders are completely missing from the pod, making the delve more risky, as the explorers will not be able to send for help as easily. The sabotage is the work of the Black-Toed Delver crew. However, they were interrupted and only managed to do minor damage to the Explorer crew's equipment. Event: a multitude of blessings. The explorers gear up and prepare to embark upon the rover at the same time as the morning shift prepares to go to work. The explorers' rescue mission is known among the prospectors of Gillen's Point, and they want to thank the explorers for risking their lives. When the explorers are busy doing equipment checks, they suddenly realize that they are surrounded by half a dozen prospectors with solemn faces. A woman steps forward and says, "We know why you are here and want to offer our gratitude and bless you in your endeavor. We pray you safely return with our comrades." With that, she removes a medallion from her neck and gives it to one of the explorers. The explorers each receives one of the following: a necklace with a medallion from Mira, a commemorative coin of the founding of the 3 guilds, a small book of myths from the old horizon, a lucky amulet from Mady Row in Ship City. GM. These trinkets will function as keepsakes for the explorers in this adventure. Tell the players to write their item in the box for keepsake on their explorer sheet. Rules for keepsakes can be found in Chapter 2.